Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm going to answer this question I get all the time. What the heck is Heroku? Heroku is a product that's been in the Salesforce ecosystem for a long time, for over 10 years. And still a lot of people don't quite understand what it is and why they would use it. Today, I hope to give a very quick, high-level overview for the average business person to understand what Heroku is and why it can add value to their organization. First, you need to think about this buy versus build concept. So when you're looking to solve a business problem with technology, you have two options. You can either go buy something that's off the shelf, think Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, or you can go build something that's proprietary. Think a custom application that you build that is solving a very unique problem that might be customer facing. Maybe it's a revenue generating product like a SaaS application where you're comfortable waiting a little longer. Typically these projects can take 3 months or more, and where you have potentially a large impact associated with this project, which would justify the higher level of effort to build that technology. Now, Salesforce has an answer to both the off-the-shelf software problem and the proprietary software problem. So if you're looking to license something off the shelf, Salesforce has you covered. They have tons of software that you can license off the shelf, ranging from your sales team in Sales Cloud to your service team in Service Cloud to your marketing team in Marketing Cloud. But when you are trying to build something that is more unique, that there isn't something off the shelf that really fits your needs perfectly well, or if you're trying to build something that is a differentiator in your industry, like a SaaS application or a digital experience for your customers, that is where Salesforce offers you Heroku. Heroku is really built around this idea of pro code as opposed to no code. So think Salesforce more point and click development, Heroku more code development. And the reality is code development is not always a bad thing. If you're looking to build something very unique, being able to write code is actually very valuable because that is the easiest way for developers like myself to make custom software. So Heroku is an amazing platform. It's actually a very famous platform in the developer community. It's been around for a long time, and many developers, including myself, were able to get our start in software development in part because Heroku existed. What Heroku does is it makes it easy to deploy applications. So think about the traditional life cycle of building an app. You come up with an idea, you code the app, and then you need to deploy the app. And this is where things get really complicated. So if you're using something like AWS or Google Cloud Platform, you have a lot to think about, ranging from how you're going to containerize your application, if you're going to use Docker or Rocket, how you're going to orchestrate it, how you're going to monitor and log it. You need to think about the security, the networking, and all of this stuff is taken care of for you by Heroku when you use Heroku instead. And so the flow with Heroku is much simpler. You have your idea, you code the app, you write one command, Heroku create. Heroku takes your code and it automatically figures out, based on the language that code is using, how to do all of those DevOps tasks to get the application to the web. And ultimately, this deployment step is needed because we want to take that code and that app that's running locally on the developer's machine, we want to get it in the cloud so that customers can ultimately access it. And that's really the whole point of Heroku, right? Is how do we get our app from a locally developed machine into the cloud where customers can access it? And it just makes it so much easier. Now, when you think about how Heroku compares to something like Salesforce itself or AWS or even on-premise hosting, what Heroku really does is it actually runs on top of AWS. So think about it as a value add layer on top of infrastructure as a service. We call it platform as a service. And the reason why it's value add is it's removing some of the work that you need to do to manage your application. So if you're licensing something off the shelf, all of everything that you see on this screen is taken care of you, ranging from the applications to the data to the runtime, all the way down to the networking is taken care of for you by the software that you're licensing. Now, if you want to have more control and actually build the application, but you don't want to have to manage all of the infrastructure that's powering that application, that's where Heroku comes in. With Heroku, you manage your app code. Heroku takes care of the rest. AWS, you're getting more control. You're not only managing your application, but you do need to manage the runtime, as well as the middleware and the operating system and the data layer. There's more work to do to manage this application, both in terms of upfront development as well as ongoing maintenance. And then if you're really keen on having lots to do, then you can do an on-premise server where you are managing everything, including the networking, the storage, the servers, and the virtualization. Basically, don't do this unless you have a very, very good reason to. When I advise businesses on where in this spectrum of control you should sit, you should have a very good reason to move to the left. You always should start on the far right. And if your need can be met with software that's out of the box, start there and then move to the left. If your need can be met with Heroku from there, Heroku is the right fit. If for some reason you have a need that requires you to have more control over the infrastructure, that's when you start to move into AWS and then into on-prem. So what this ultimately translates to in terms of business value is your resources going towards more value add activities. So in traditional software development, most of the resources are going towards the bottom of this orange pyramid. They're going towards infrastructure and DevOps. But the value add work, the reason why we do infrastructure and DevOps is to build applications, right? And that's where you want to see more resources going towards the application development side, building differentiated features, building new experiences for customers, as opposed to the plumbing that is just keeping the lights on for those applications. With Heroku, you essentially flip that pyramid upside down. The vast majority of resources are spent on actual application development, moving the roadmap on your products forward, and much fewer resources are spent on DevOps and infrastructure. This is why so many technology startups use Heroku, because they understand that to win in the technology landscape, they have to be quick to market, they have to be quick to innovate, and they have to be able to ship features constantly. They can't be on a hamster wheel doing DevOps and infrastructure. So this does relate to actual business outcomes that have been studied by Forrester. You can see here a 40% increase in developer productivity, 30% reduction in DevOps cost, 285% return on investment. And from my perspective, I think that these numbers are probably understated from some of the things that I've seen in the industry and some of the ways that it's helped my team and my company build apps faster. So if you're curious to learn more, if you have any questions or have a project that you're considering using Heroku for, definitely reach out. Happy to chat with you about it and answer any questions you have. All right, thanks.